Louise, Rowan. The Slayer's shield. Keywords: protection, inner defense, warding, spiritual resilience, guardianship, the guardian tree. Louise is the second step on the Drag-Ogham path, and where Beith opens the gate to transformation, Louise defends the threshold. It is the shield the Dragon Slayer raises not to charge forward, but to stand firm. The Rowan tree, long revered in Celtic lands, was planted near doorways and graveyards, believed to ward off spirits and curses. Its energy is not one of confrontation, but of quiet refusal. In the hands of a dragon slayer, Louise is a spiritual bulwark, a living boundary that declares, "You shall not pass." The slayer does not always need to strike. Sometimes they must endure. Louise offers the sacred art of resistance, not passive surrender, but the inner strength to not yield. Dragons use fear, temptation, manipulation, and illusion to breach the will. Louise teaches how to endure those assaults without losing center. It is the Drag-Ogham of guardianship, not just of lands or laws, but of one's own soul. The Red Ward. The Rowan's red berries, vibrant and unmistakable, are more than decoration. In myth, they were symbols of protection, warning, and resistance marks that something sacred is guarded here. The red is not blood lost, but blood remembered. Each berry becomes a living sigil, an imprint of a challenge faced, a sorrow overcome, a wound healed into wisdom. The Dragon Slayer who walks with Louise carries these berries not in their hand, but in their memory, each one a scar made holy. Dragons often strike through corruption, not with claws, but with subtle whispers. You are nothing. You cannot endure. Why fight what cannot be changed? The Red Ward counters this by drawing power from what has already been endured. Louise teaches that memory, properly sanctified, becomes armor. Every pain transformed into strength becomes a warding against future violation. Louise turns past wounds into present shields. Amulet of the Heart. Rowan wood was often carved into amulets and protective runes, worn close to the body to repel sorcery and curses. In the Drag-Ogham system, Louise becomes the Dragon Slayer's inner amulet, a protection not forged in iron, but grown in awareness. It defines the sacred boundaries of the self. The heart, often the target of a dragon's venom, doubt, grief, despair, is circled by Louise's energy, creating a field that corruption cannot penetrate unless invited. This is not a wall made of ego or fear. It is a ring of clarity. The Slayer's integrity, purpose, and calling live within it. Louise guards these truths not by aggression but by stillness. The talisman glows brightest when the Slayer remembers who they are. In the storm of the dragon's lies, Louise speaks the truth the Slayer cannot afford to forget. Circle of Warding. Louise, like the Rowan trees planted on thresholds, teaches the power of sacred boundaries. The dragon, symbolic of chaos and manipulation, tests the Slayer's edges, trying to erode consent, blur the lines, and seep in through small concessions. Louise restores those lines. It is the Drag-Ogham of the no that protects the yes. Not all spiritual power is movement, some of it is rootedness. The Dragon Slayer who plants Louise at their borders does so to say, "Here I stand. I will not be moved." Sometimes the world will not understand. Others may question why the Slayer does not comply, conform, or relent. But Louise reminds them that refusal is a sacred act. Dragons hate boundaries because boundaries are proof of sovereignty. Louise empowers the Slayer to guard their soul as a holy land invaded by none, owed to none, defined by its own flame. The shield that withstands. Louise is not a sword. It does not seek battle. It endures it. In this way, it is the Drag-Ogham of spiritual sovereignty. It absorbs the dragon's roar, endures its fire, and withstands the poison of its glamours. Where other signs might strike, Luis refuses to break. Its strength is not flashy or aggressive, it is stillness under pressure, silence against seduction, and the immovable spirit behind the storm. Dragons may change shape, use false light, or charm the senses, but they cannot enter where Luis has been planted. This is the sigil of refusal, of the sacred no, of the shield that says, I know who I am, and you will not take it from me. In the deeper mythic current, Luis becomes the Slayer's vow of spiritual containment, never again to be breached, never again to be owned. The sovereign flame within. In the end, Luis guards the one thing the dragon always seeks to extinguish, the sovereign flame of the Slayer's spirit. Not their skill, nor their weapons, but their will, the unshakable truth that they are their own. Luis, as a guardian Drag-Ogham, teaches how to tend that fire in secret, in silence, in sanctity. Even when surrounded by shadow, the Slayer who walks with Luis is never unprotected. This is the magic of the Rowan. It does not seek glory. It seeks wholeness. It remembers. It repels. It endures. For the Dragon Slayer, Luis is not a temporary defense. It is the lifelong spell of protection that allows the hunt to continue, the soul to remain intact, and the heart to remain pure. Behind Luis, no dragon passes. Within Luis, no Slayer falls.